What's up, guys? Y'all are early. We're not starting for another 30 minutes, but I'm willing to chop it up with whoever wants to chop it up for now. Got to do some promo stuff real quick. So if you want to give me like 5 minutes, yeah, I wasn't even gonna start. I wasn't even gonna come on until 3:45, but my time. But I didn't realize I left the banner off, so I still fixing the lighting and shit. And I got my Chipotle here unfucking touched, bro. Yeah, I know. I said I wasn't gonna eat Chipotle anymore, but what can you do? It's like when you're trying to eat healthy, you have two options: spend a shit ton of money or eat bad. There's really there's no before or after. Shout out to Supermex. One of the early birds says, I'm early to enjoy the last ride. Ooh, the Undertaker's coming on. I didn't know that. No, he's referring to Wade Plemons, who is listen, one of my favorite combats MMA content creators. I very much enjoy and what's the other word? I'm not going to say I agree all the time, but I definitely see the rationale, right? So we exchanged some words online a little bit, and he's graciously agreed to come on and speak about the issue at hand. Not going to talk about it with Abe. Abe's super smart. He could absolutely talk about it, but Abe also runs a business. You know what I mean? So some of these talking points, this is the only good thing I have for myself, guys, is that I can do whatever I want and say whatever I want. I mean, I've applied for a couple of websites that may, dispute that, but at the end of the day, if I, get them or don't get them, this is my benefit, right? Like if Ness can't do this anymore. Ness can't just say what he wants, not at all. And it's been a long time since that's been the case, right? You could date back to like 2016 and start to see the trend. But I can say whatever I want because it's my platform. And I worked for so many other people for so long, Mario Serrano, Nestor Gibbs, Mike Woods. And even though Mike Woods is like probably one of my favorite bosses ever, like even outside of writing, you got to toe the line. You know what I mean? I know the things I know, and that's all I know, right? I'm not smart. I'll never pretend to be smart, but I know the things I know, right? So that confidence that I have, it comes from that, knowing what I know. And what I know is a lot more on this issue. I'll tell you that right the fuck now. Okay, so and the topic is Mick Foley going to AEW and over WWE, or going to AEW from WWE as a political protest, as a means of political protest. And it's like, I don't even like, I'm not even going to argue that with Wade. Like, I mean, sure, I could, and I probably will. But the point more so for anything else is the idea that someone like him, who's at the top level, right, of combat sports, like he worked for Ring Magazine. I don't know if he still works for Ring Magazine or not, but he did, right, as of this year. Like if I told, if I was, let's say I'm Turkey, right, let's say I'm Doug Fisher, right? Let's say I'm Doug Fisher, and I come up to him and I say, hey, we're going to give you a new deal. And you're not going to write for us. We don't want any content from you. In fact, you're not invited to any of the shows either. We don't actually want to see you there. But we'll still give you like this portion of money. Like, but then you got boxing scene and they're like, hey, wait, we'll pay you, 3 times what you were making over there, maybe 2 times what you're making over there. We're going to use you. So you're going to make more money on top of that. Merch, all that. And by the way, he still has the same exact merch issue with WWE. You know what I mean? Like, this is a capitalist move. This is somebody who's taking their ball that is not being dribbled in one place and moving to another. It's one of the most capitalistic things you could ever argue. I can't understand anybody who would say otherwise. But this idea that it's somehow not a direct reflection of WWE's ties to MAGA is disingenuous. I'm sorry. This isn't about who's right, who's wrong on the political landscape. No, this is about stop fucking lying or shut the fuck up if you don't know. Bottom line. And I'm pulling up videos already so we can see all the Republican favored shit that WWE's done over the years. Vince hates Democrats. He hated them and he hates them today. He thinks that they're the reason why steroids got banned from the WWE. He thinks they're the reason why he can't name dildos after his favorite wrestlers and it'd be weird. All I'm saying is that there's a separation between the conservative talking points that people want to use to alienate those of us that have been paying attention versus the narrative of people willing to say the things that aren't popular, but they are based in truth. So I'll pick that every day, right? I'll pick facts and truths over, people clicking my shit, right? Listen, I've lost so many people because of my political takes, but they're not political. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking truth. I'm talking fact. And you want to talk about it? Fine. What do you want me to say? You want me to say fuck Biden, champ? Is that what you want? And here's how I know you're a pussy, because you know that I can only post shit from YouTube, X, and TikTok, and yet you post on IG and Twitch all the time, and knowing that I can't. You know what I mean? So it's like you're just avoiding that shit too. So say what you want. I don't care. What do you want me to say? You want me to say fuck Obama? You want me to say Biden was old? You want me to say Hillary was corrupt? You want me to say that Bill was a womanizer and maybe even like borderline a sexual offender? I'll patronize him. Sure. Let's go, champ. Ain't nothing, bro. You can't call me nothing. You can't call me nothing, bro. You could say things, but you're just trying to justify your own fucking talking points. Yo, champ. First of all, post that shit in here, champ. Why are you texting me this shit? That's hilarious. I'm not gonna. Here's the thing: you didn't put it on there, so then whatever the fuck, whatever. But that's all right. Oh, nothing, Alex. You did not miss anything yet. We have a great show scheduled today. You missed nothing. What is coming up is Abe Gonzalez is going to come on and tell us exactly why. Hello. What? I'm live, by the way, and you are too.
Have you been on that website lately? Dude, do you know the Mounties just came out?
Yeah, I saw that last week. Yeah, or not last week. I think it was Monday or something. Yeah, they're fucking like $85 though. Fuck that noise. Hey, Wade Plemons is coming on the show.
Is he?
Yeah, it's or he's supposed to at 6 o'clock our time. I got Abe at 4 his time, and then Wade at 6. The conversation is Mick Foley going to AEW and it being stupid because AEW is supposedly also as MAGA as WWE. So yeah. Also, there's a couple of boxing takes that I've had some issues with that he's had, and he seems like he's game to bring it all up. So what do you mean who? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't make it clear. Yeah, I'm sorry. Wait. Yeah, no, Abe's coming on. We're just going to talk wrestling. I'm going to try to. Oh, my God, dude. You're not listening to me at all. And I am.
You said Abe?
I said Wade and Abe. Abe's coming on at 2. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 his time. So 4 our time. And then Wade Plemons is coming on at 6 his time, 4 our time. Clear? Okay. No, wait, not 4 our time. No, 4 his time, 6 our time. That's why. Yeah, my bad. I'm fucking up. He's out of Vegas time. He's out of Vegas time.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, he did as of this year. I don't know for sure. I mean, I keep up with his content for sure, but the last thing I saw him do was the Aiden Ross thing, the what's it called? The brand risk commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the commentary. That's the last thing I saw him do. I don't really know if he's still contributing to Ring or not, but I'll ask him.
Dude, why don't you ask him also if he? I saw him. If he's a Hawani fan.
Doesn't seem like it, but I'll ask him. Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, he does seem to. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys, it's hard with Ariel, I think, because he's on the outside of things. You know what I mean? And he's created this like other, other marketplace for combat sports fans outside of the UFC's propaganda machine. And so at the end of the day, I think Ariel's an important voice. We need people outside of the UFC. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know, I remember when everybody was talking shit about Coppinger when he got bitched out by Aram. You remember that? Remember when Aram was like, shut the fuck up or whatever he said, crazy as shit with his senile ass? Like, everybody laughed and it was funny as shit. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't laugh. That was fucking hilarious. But Cop didn't deserve that. Why? Because he's pushing back against your fucking bullshit narratives. Like, at the end of the day, every company in combat sports or otherwise is just gonna lie and try to get you to buy into whatever bullshit they're selling, right? This is what Jake Paul figured out about boxing, and this is why he got into it and has been so successful. Now, as far as the promotional side of it with women, I'm not going to speak to that because I don't think that it's a separate thing. You know what I mean? Like, being the CEO of a business that involves women and talented fighters is different than being the face of a company as a content creator trying to build your own shit up, right? So I don't know. It's just listen, this is a complicated thing. This is why I tell you to come on every day, because these conversations are not easy. I got to catch PlayStation State of Play at 5. We might get a GTA 6 or a Persona 6 trailer this week. So I'm watching out. Alex, let me know because I need to see that GTA trailer, the update. That and Kane. All right, come on if you want. Yo, Alex, I need to see that yesterday, and I needed to see the Doomsday trailer last week. Yo, they were like, oh, we're gonna do this thing for King, I keep calling it King Conquer, for Doomsday. We're gonna do this thing for this drop's coming on Tuesday. Oh my god, everybody be ready for Doomsday, the drop. It's a fucking coffee. Y'all put out a coffee. You fucking capitalistic, greedy fucking pigs. You're gonna have one of the biggest openings in the world, but you can't give us a little tease. Instead, you want to cock tease us and then be like, oh, you know, it's coming. Like, dude, eat a dick. Like, I'm just, oh my god, I'm so tired of this. And I know it's on purpose. I know it's on purpose. Dang, Wade is big time guest. I'm all business for this show now, champ. Appreciate you, Alex. Yeah, dude, listen, I'm gonna suck off Wade as soon as he gets here. I'm gonna glaze his ass as soon as he gets on. Not because I'm trying to suck dick, but because I very much admire, right? Like, he don't know me. I've never interviewed him before. Wade got popular in combat sports as a whole right around the time where I got fired from the Boxing Boys. You know what I mean? So like, I don't assume that he knows me at all. In fact, I'd be willing to bet he has zero clue who I am. And so the fact that he's even going to come on to have a conversation without talking points, without notes, without me, because here's the thing, I don't like not giving topics. I don't. And people will think it's like a thing where like, I don't need the topics. Fine, you don't need the topics. I'm not saying you need the topics. I want you to have the topics because I need you to have the topics, because I want to make sure that your best version comes in. So even if you're not going to sit here for like an hour or 30 minutes before the show and start to like put actual notes down, right? At least you see the topics and then boom, it sparks an idea that you can kind of cradle in the back of your head until it comes. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, Matt did this thing yesterday, right? Well, actually, he did it this weekend where he wanted to have the Darby Allin conversation. Was the title reign worth the squeeze? Okay. And it was such an incredible conversation. You know why it was a good conversation? You know why everybody liked it and why we kept getting people just dropping in, staying forever? Dude, people were like 80% of the people that hopped on for that show watched like 90% of that show. It was like one of the first ones I've ever had like that. The metrics were crazy. Everybody was watching during that time. And it was because we were having a very thoughtful conversation. And the only reason that was possible is because Matt had the fucking balls to send me that shit beforehand. You know what I mean? Like it's called disclosure, right? I'm sure everybody knows this, or maybe not everybody, but most of y'all. So like if you're in a court case, right, you have to disclose your evidence to the defense, right? So that they can prepare their defense. If you withhold evidence that is supposed to be disclosed, it can be a mistrial. It could be, you could literally fuck your entire career. You could have a case on a silver platter, and all you have to do is go tell the jury it was A that led to B that led to C. Boom, case closed. But you didn't disclose right, or you didn't, give them the appropriate information in a timely fashion, or you withheld information as long as possible till the very last minute so they couldn't prepare. All that stuff is reason for a mistrial. All that stuff could fuck you in the end. You know what I mean? So the fact that people play that game at the highest level in law and they literally try to finesse each other, and guys like Wade and Matt are like willing to just have the convo, I rock with that, bro. I rock with that. Luke Thomas Cook Coppinger earlier this year too. I've seen that. Yeah. you know, it's tough, dude. It's tough. Like, it's so tough to navigate this era of combat sports. Like, when I was in combat sports, right? Like, specifically when I first started boxing, there were old heads like Burt Sugar and things like that. And a lot of these guys were like old school progressives type, right? Like, a lot of these guys were like liberal by nature. I mean, I think Hemingway would probably be a Republican at this point, but at the end of the day, he considered himself much more progressive than men who touted the same sort of things. Like you know, this is a writer in Hemingway, right? Like an artist, a guy that used his brain and his pen in a way that a lot of other men might say were feminine. But this guy also had a boxing ring in his fucking yard, in his backyard, and would like invite legit boxers and legit amateurs in his area to come and throw down with him for a while. Like, you know, Hemingway ran with the Bulls, I think. Like, he did a lot of shit that was like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, I could fuck with that. But at the end of the day, if you don't use your brain, then it's like you're just a retard. Fuck! Fuck! I said the R word again. Yeah. I know. It's just the era I'm from. I'll have to learn. I'll learn. I'm sorry, guys. I'll do better. I promise y'all I'll do better. That's like my fourth of the week on show. No, third of the week on show. And so I'm getting better. What, I have 24 the week I started on one show. Fuck. My bad, guys. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. I really, really do apologize. Believe it or not, I offended myself. So yeah, not an excuse. But listen, we got a lot of really good conversations for today. If you saw Raw and Turning last night, then you know we had a really good show with some terrible, terrible main event storylines. Appreciate you, Alex. Thank you so much. She said, dude, it's cool. Be chill. You're right. I'm a animated person by nature, and I get down on myself when I'm unable to, you know, do the things that I like to do. But anyway, we're going to talk about the White House card a little later. Hopefully Wade will be around during that time. You know, it's the White House card has become as political as I knew it would, right? It's the whole reason I didn't want it to happen. Not because I don't think it's a cool idea to have the White House in the back like the pyramids were, not because I think that MMA is inherently bad or violent to the point where we shouldn't have it. Not at all. What I think is that event is going to be completely uncontrollable. That event is going to have some logistical issues that might cause the fighters more difficulty than it should. So then you get into how much of a fight this was, how much of it is contested under the normal parameters, right? Like the me and Alex talked about this the other day. Like the UFC, I think it was 200 where they used the yellow mat. Y'all remember that? With the yellow mat? Like, everybody was slipping and falling everywhere. You know what I mean? It was one of the worst UFC events in terms of like, and this has happened across the board, right? Like, you know, this happened to Golden Boy when they had that Asian fighter fight Kirkland. So they had a Friday show, and then they had, I think it was a Saturday show somewhere else, but he fought the Japanese fighter, and that was a Fox show. I think it was Fox Deportes, and you could see the mat like not crumbling. You could see it like bunching together. Like, there were literally like tiny little lifts in the mat where guys were like tripping and fun. Cause like, look, if you don't understand this, like, you're sliding in the ring, right? Like, you're sliding, right? You're not taking fucking stomps. You're sliding, right? And so when you slide, guess what? You trip like shit when there's a fucking thing in the middle of the ring. So that's one of my fears for sure. Also, again, I've said this before, and very few people have agreed with me. You know, like, I remember the era when people were like really down on MMA, right? Guys like McCain, right? Mostly Republicans, by the way, conservative people who were very against MMA, mostly because they were in the pocket of some of the more wealthier boxing donors, like lawyers, managers that are associated to fighters that, you know, made big payoffs and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I remember that probably better than I should. Maybe it doesn't have nearly as much context today than it did. But all I know is that without saying any specific media names, there are people, there are companies, there are media brands that want this thing to fail, right? And they don't just want it to go bad. They want it to like go horribly wrong. There are political entities that believe that the UFC is part of this marketing or part of this brain trust idea that conservatives had to attack what they call the manosphere, the bro podcast, right? And a lot of people attribute Trump's and Vance's spots on places like Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn. And so the UFC helped cultivate Trump's reputation after January 6th, right? And so they were always going to be against it. It was always going to be a thing where they're like, they can't separate Trump from the UFC. And I'll be honest, I don't think that that's their fault. I think Dana did a really good job of embedding the two. But for someone like me who doesn't associate any of that shit, right? Like the MMA fans that I know and talk to on a regular basis, I don't think they've watched. They've probably watched like an hour of MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN combined over the last decade, right? The MMA people that I know, they think of Trump as the apprentice guy who became president. They don't think of him as this, like, as the way the left will sometimes characterize him, right? And again, I'm not saying he's a fascist or he's not a fascist. I'm just saying these are the talking points, right? And I like to separate myself from them only to give context. So I'm not putting any of my points in here. I'm just saying I don't want my stuff to be politicized, right? I don't want it to be a thing where on the White House lawn on America's birthday, I have to say, this isn't for me because I'm not MAGA, or this isn't for me because I didn't vote for Trump. No, bullshit. This is for me because I was there at fucking UFC 1. I mean, not physically, but we ordered that shit. My uncle ordered UFC 1 when I was a kid. Me and my brother watched every single UFC there's ever been, most of them live, most of them. And by the way, when they weren't live and we weren't able to go, when I went on this camping trip for a whole summer one time, and I paid this guy to literally record every single UFC and boxing that I missed. Watched it all in like a day and a half. I got back on a Sunday, didn't work for 2 days, watched it all by Tuesday at like 2 a.m. or something like that. So like my fandom's for real. You know what I mean? Like I don't watch for politics. I would rather not have that shit in. So I'm just worried. I'm worried we're going to get like an Anderson Silva leg kick. And it's going to create this fucking narrative that's bullshit that people are just using to justify their own political means, if that makes sense. Imagine one of your guests says it today. That would be crazy, right? We always talk about what can go wrong. Mario, what in your eyes is the best case scenario for the White House card? Event-wise, PR-wise? Ooh, I love this question. Great question. Great question. And you're right. We do talk about all the negative. Now, partly that's because those are where the numbers are and that's what people are interested in. And partly because it is really fascinating, right? Like if you could take all the political aspects out and how you feel, like a lot of people feel like their White House that they've helped pay for with their taxes and this country that belongs to all of us in a theoretical kind of way, is being like desecrated, right? But if you could take it all out for a second and really just think of what they're actually trying to accomplish, it's super fascinating. You know what I mean? It's super, especially because of all the problems, right? It's not that there are problems, it's that there are obstacles, and all these obstacles exist wherever you put an event on, right? There are infrastructure issues. There are issues with the toilets and where they're placed, smell, all that stuff factors in, right? Where concession goes, where the exits are, the fire exits are, like all of these things are potential obstacles, right? So for the White House to be successful, they don't have to have no bugs, right? It doesn't have to be the most driest mat in the world. It doesn't have to be a unseasonably, awesome 75 degrees in Washington that day. what it has to be is MMA oriented, UFC focused, on the fighters. Leave all the other bullshit behind, right? Make this about the moment, right? For fight fans, the way that this could be successful for fight fans is to have the narratives pay off, right? If you are a UFC fan and you are upset that you feel like you were lied to, right? Oh, this was going to be all championship matches. There was going to be 50 to 100,000 people. There wasn't going to be just armed service people. Regular people like us could go, right? And there's going to be a drawing and all this other stuff. And it's not that. And you're upset. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not upset because I never thought those things were tangibly possible, right? I'm listening to a promoter like Eddie Hearn talk. That's what I was listening to when I saw Trump talking about this. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, here's an Aram, or here's a Matchroom Eddie Hearn. And he's pretty good at it, by the way. And so I looked at this and I said, it's interesting for sure, but nothing changes, right? In order for this to be successful, it has to mirror from an in-cage, in-ring, in-competition aspect what we always see. Those things cannot get lost in the pageantry, in the political environment, and certainly not in the potential for disaster, right? Like Rogan's taken some heat lately because he's been saying how, it's bad to have all people in one place and how, the environment's uncontrollable. All of that is relevant. And yet none of it means that the in-ring work or the in-cage work is to be affected, right? We watched a really good match between Sean Strickland and Chimaev, right? It wasn't the funnest match in the world. I've seen better fights, like more entertaining fights that casuals and hardcores alike can enjoy. But there was a narrative there, and that narrative took center place. And maybe because it was so fucking volatile, right? And maybe because it was so fucking crazy and, racist and whatever, I don't even know, or religious is what is that word? Like when you're racist against somebody's religion, what is that? Theologist? No, that's not even remotely close. Ash, what is it called when you're against somebody's religion? Like if you're against somebody's skin, you're a racist, right? And if you're against somebody's sexual orientation, or there is one, right? Really? Okay, yeah, I guess that's true. Oh, okay. Yeah. Damn, that's weird, right? Because it's either you're anti-Semitic or you're like anti-Muslim or anti-Christian, but there's like nothing that incorporates all of them, which I feel like certainly describes a lot more people out there. But anyway, the point I'm making is that, this card has gotten a lot of attention, and it will get even more attention on fight week and fight night. If they want to be successful, in my opinion, the best way to do that is to focus on the fights. That's a tough job, right? Because every single interview that Dana White does, they ask him about MAGA and the movement and Trump and his connection. And he's tried to say it's not political. And I don't know. I don't think that was the right talking point, because all it's done is politicize it even more. That said, I think that there are absolute there are absolute avenues on the day of that can attribute to a quality show. Absolutely. The fights are good, right? The fights are good. I'm sorry the casual fans didn't get to see Ronda Rousey. I think they should have, but I don't mind not watching her in that fight, right? Like I don't mind not seeing Ngannou fight some like rando. Like I don't mind seeing Nate Diaz and Mike Perry fight an incredibly bloody and fun match outside of this card, because I know like three things. One, I know that Ronda Rousey is very much past her prime. Champ, where he's not scheduled till 4 o'clock. Wait, no. Shit. He's not scheduled till 4 his time. So he's not scheduled for another 2 hours. I have Abe Gonzalez coming on at 4 for I have Abe Gonzalez coming on. Oh, speak of the devil, but he'll be here.
Don't worry about it.
Stupid thing. All right. Oh, that's not him. Champ, you there? How is this happening? Oh, shit.